decision time. It is time to make some decisions. And that's what always makes a good war game. And what we're doing here with these. Now, one of the viewers said, well, hey, once literally like all but 2 of these armored divisions, everything else was just destroyed down here. And the thing is, you should have just continued playing, and it's how you bounce back from it is what matters, not everything being a, ever victorious army. Can anybody get that reference without Googling? But that would have left me with like maybe 8 panzer divisions, because I think there was like 2 divisions left down there, if that, at that point. And partially what, don't know why there's so many Slovak and Czech and Hungarian units here, but oh well. At a point which we can see, particularly in World War I and World War II, is political leaders not realizing when you were beat. I don't think, if we tried to go, just continue to fight the British or something, which is not my plans with this series, we could have continued to fight on so long as the Soviet Union stays at peace with us. That would have been a practical possibility, maybe, but not one in which we could defeat the Soviet Union at that point. And my whole plan of sending in super, we get to 3 stars? No, 81%. Okay. You guys might be astonished by this, but I've really only been playing Hearts of Iron 4 and what you've been seeing here. And for multiple reasons, there's been various false starts. Or like the first game I played was, major game I played with, it was with Italy. Since the introduction of railways, I want to play a game in which we see how the invasion of the Soviet Union goes. I don't know what. I'm a little worried because of what some of the people have said. A little worried that we'll send you up to here. Because of what some of the people have said about the invading the Soviet Union and what. Okay, none of these are on the coast. I was just sort of checking there. This guy's division. Okay, right now. That the Soviet Union gets harder. And not that it should or shouldn't. It should probably get a bit harder as time goes on. Recover from the debacle of. They were only partially recovered when Germany does attack. The debacle of the invasion of Finland, along with the earlier show trials and other major problems that the Soviet Union was having. That keep doing this. I play too many different games. Some use right click, left click for doing various things. I guess I'm a little worried coming off of just things that it's going to be a little much on the make things challenging side. I don't like mods that do that. I want mods. I'm not saying it's well. I got a few things I want to look into before I start spouting my mouth off. But trying to look for good places to send large numbers of troops without overwhelming the supply line. Well, maybe we should send these guys out here. Is legendary Romania not in the Axis? Oh, it may not be. Oh, it is not a member of the Axis yet. Oh, no wonder. Okay, well. Hopefully that corrects its fucking self. I don't know. Well, I don't know. We could, I guess, use some of that there. So, because the difficulty settings now are should be because of the railways supply setup of all that. And I want to play that. So, I think the decision has now come to time-wise. We're gonna withdraw Guderian. We're gonna leave Rommel with 2 divisions, 2 army divisions here, to try to keep the British from. We could wait till after Greece falls, maybe, to move them out. Or do we want to do a parachute landing onto somewhere? That could be interesting. So that's sort of where I'm going with, is that I want to I want to organize up. I want to do an Eastern Front campaign. So the decision is to withdraw from North Africa. I'm going to have some more comments once I look into a couple of historical facts. Because I take World Ablaze as being a mod that is very much trying to do historical stuff, not just make game more challenging stuff. Yes, annex. Yeah, I guess we can probably out this. I don't need this all for Germany. Now, on the and I've talked. Multiple people have counseled me on the that I should do make plans, get the planning bonus, and then even if I'm going to micromanage it, to micromanage from there. Well, with say standard boy 4, it seems like cheating to me doing that. Maybe not so much with World Blaze, but with boy 4, it sort of does. It's sort of what I got in the habit. Maybe I should do some more of that. Okay, let's. Great. You. We're gonna hit there, cross here. You guys move up. Oh, do we do any air? No. Okay. And we are, in my opinion, I'm very short on air. You're hanging out there. Yeah, I should have planned this a little better. You come over here. How am I doing for fighters? Do we have any significant... Oh, we got a lot of fighters. Okay. What kind of quality are they? We'll find out here. Wanna... letting... Okay, what I'm looking for is that to pop up down here. Why isn't it doing that? I mean, something simple like that. Why isn't it giving a choice to make a new squadron? Okay. Two new squadrons here. Going to one of them fucking there, but yeah, no. We're gonna wait for them to deploy, and then we will see about just because I transferred that one unit, or said that one unit to be transferring over, it doesn't allow me to do this. I don't know. Okay, we'll get them down and transfer them down to this other base. Let's see what we have up here. Blight, which I want them to be. These guys, they can come back here because they'll have longer range. And they'll be able to operate Yugoslavia from back there. All of these operations are going to be successful. So with you there as well. Oh, yes. Now they come in. We'll send some of these infantry divisions down to the Soviet border once we get there. Now here, let's cancel that operation and hold that area. Now, okay, from here to here, shall we? I think we shall. We must have more than 70. Okay, they have too much air superiority over there. Okay, well, we'll see if when we get maybe a bit nearer there, we can do that. When we get these units, they're still deploying. Okay, these guys are standing by. So, West Balkans, I know we don't have air support for you guys yet, but I don't know how much I fear the... Oh, you guys... Yeah, oh, hey, because I'm going to be releasing this today. I'm making this the day of release. This weekend, we're going to be playing, and then I will be cutting it up and putting it on as a series. A multiplayer game that we're going to do with the usual guys, Team G members, that I'm sort of calling Ministers and Generals. We'll be playing as Germany. It'll be co-op. It will have, not sure how many players. and I'm sure people will switch roles as time goes on. But starting out, we will definitely be looking at having. The idea is I play the leader. I don't know if we're gonna call me. I sort of worry about the Führer. Um, just politically, um, not good. I mean, not even as Adolf, but just whatever. You know what I mean. Sensitive times we live in. And probably handling things like production, minister of production, and definitely uh, minister of decision and national focus will be mine. We may do a production minister. I don't know. But to have the idea of a, well, what do you call a minister, or just head of the Navy, and we'll have head of the Luftwaffe, head of the Navy, and someone playing the head of the spy agency, uh, and then once the war gets started, which will have more meaningful impact, um, different people will be playing generals. Now, probably maybe some of the ministers will switch over to generals as being more interesting than trying to just do the do some of the minister stuff, so that we could have somebody continuing actively playing North Africa here, while others are. Well, I think maybe we'll go all Ablaze. And while others are, playing in the Soviet Union, and somebody getting ready to defend against an Allied invasion, things like that. So you might want to check that series out when it comes out. Oh, yeah, let's add a unit here. I think I have, well, not enough of everything. Don't have enough support tanks, I know that. But enough of, I don't know how much anti-tank Panzer Division is currently using. But I don't want Italy to lose here. Maybe one up to City Barani and one more unit to there. That'd be enough to keep these Brits in check. See, so this is the thing here, is I have not been paying enough attention here, looking at how that's going. And trust me, I can play very, very slowly, and play all of the stuff. Get that rail, but I really should be. Oh, we for some reason are not in there. Oh, okay. Well. Oh, no, let's review this out. Okay, motorized divisions, Panzer Division, where's reserve divisions? You guys come here too. Right. Are we here yet? Are we there yet? Well, we're there finally. Okay, well now you come to here, and then you come over here with anti-fighter priority. They will attack bombers, but primary fighters first, and the same for those guys. These guys come down here and go after ground operations. Okay, keep moving down that way. You be bold, bold, bold. Because, yes, I have currently not much respect for the Yugoslav army. 1941. Oh. Yes, you may. Come on in. Now, set up the Swiss franc agreement. Okay, currently. Let's look here. How are we doing? Because the only thing, we could use a little more iron. Well, I guess Sweden is a decent place. For that, we can later replace the Soviet Union with the Swedish iron. What we need is a lot more anti-tank guns. Now, do I have a second production line that I made? I think I did. Or maybe that was my other game. Sometimes it's good to have multiple production lines of something like this. Because if I were to say want to double the amount that I have here, or maybe just, do 10 more instead of, total of 15. Yeah, I could readily click here and do that, but efficiency will drop as you just throw in more, military ICs into the production line. So that ain't good. Or it's balanced out with if you just produce, setting up another line. But one, of course, it gives you a little more granularity, meaning, oh, hey, I just want to add one or two more to the line. I don't want to dump in a whole 5. Like here is either 5 or there's no additional ones currently. But also, it is good in that, I know some of you already know this, but is good in that if, oh, hey, I'm almost ready to pull the trigger on one of these, but not quite yet, in a few months, well, let's just start a production line of, Pack 38s. Then when you can, instead of jumping both lines, say one line that's very efficiently cranking out Pack 38s, and the new line that you just put in, you switch that one over to Pack 40, so you're making both get used, but you don't disrupt already efficient production that is still considered somewhat viable. So that is a decent thing to think about. Now, I am continuing with my massive buildup of oil refineries to deal with the rubber. So I guess we're just going to live with things. Oh, well, okay. Okay, here we go. We currently, trains, we have almost double the amount of trains that we need. Yeah, let's go all the way back to it. Let's get rid of that. Opens up 10. Now I know, but we have enough of that now. Tungsten. So let's open up another line of that, and it'll just be those 10 that we just freed up. Well, I guess something else grabbed a few. Well, that's okay. That it is just that. Get them going in for more anti-tank guns. Without going for rubber, because that's what we have a massive deficiency on. I'm looking for things that We need this. Doesn't use rubber either. Okay, but I think maybe we have quite a few up here now. Yeah, hopefully, because we have added those not that long ago. Just get across the rivers. There we go. You get there, you attack there, so you guys come down that way. I really should have moved some of these panzers and motorized divisions a little more vigorously. Agent captured, we must mount a rescue operation. I do like the way they sort of do that weird sort of dissolve, I guess is what it would be most appropriately called. Okay, well now that we have the Panzer Division there, that was sort of what I considered to be important to get out. Or get back there and without it being too disrupted. Okay, you attack there, you guys come here. Okay, you, yes, push there. Okay, more Panzers, good. You drive to Sarajevo. You guys march down this railway. And after getting there, you secure that railway. You move to here, not attacking into the mountains. I know I have one mountain division over here, the rest are still up in Norway. We're going to have to deal with something with that in time. Motorized divisions, one will just come here to occupy that, the other one, let's keep you moving here. Look down here. Okay, well, sort of the reason I'm holding in City Branny obviously is the fortifications, not, you know, super great, but level 3. You got to come all the way back to here to get only 2 frontages. And we probably want to hold Tobruk anyway, so might as well try to hold here. How well fortified is Tobruk? Okay, 3. And 3 from the sea, so... Okay, well... We've got divisions coming in a following up manner. You guys come across there. You can stay in Zagreb, I guess. Occupational troops. You guys can push along the border there. Well, these railroads are definitely changing my normal behavior as for how I move units. Yeah, we'll push on this unit. Well, okay, we should. Okay, no, these guys should continue to come there, but come down along this rail line here. Just like that. Secure those factories. How is the air war going down here? Okay, well, I think because, well, we are sort of in City Barani a bit, but air supply we want to we no longer have anybody on air supply, I think, or is it just these guys here? These guys, I'm going to air supply East Libya now. Oh, I think that's... having fun with their little games, and you guys, one continues here, one comes down that way, the other comes, yes, down this way, but, well, no, they've got a bunch of guys. You guys, one of them comes that way. You guys. We're going that way. You can head into the mountains, I guess. You head that way. Okay, well, we captured a decent-sized airbase here. You cut the railway, you push this straight into Zagreb. And we might as well, let's see, the Stukas for sure because they're short range. And our fighters to help cover this theater much better. You can attack the guys in the mountains. Okay, well, we've got Zagreb, which really... Okay, they even had it. The kingdom of Serbia, blah 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 blah. Yugoslavia. In my opinion, well, I mean, compare it to communism in general, and there are, 100+ million people they killed in 100 years, and all the horrors of the Nazis. But treaty injustices in this world, to me, Yugoslavia is just a big one of those. It really is. I blame the major catastrophes of the 20th century, which that being World War I and World War II, because World War II is just sort of round two of World War I, on Serbia. Serbia sponsors the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand, which sparks off the war. Yeah, I know it's some, other little separatists that are actually doing the hand grenading and the pistoling, but I blame them. Yeah, we can look at, other actors like Germany that expand the war and things like that. I'm not saying there isn't other blame to go around, but I put it really at the blame of that. Now, yes, I will also say from stuff. Now, there's so much propaganda in life. I don't know how much you guys realize it, but there is. And of course, we have the propaganda of the winners. But sort of my point of saying this is we do have, I think, reasonably well documented. Well, please note, propaganda, I know in Latin America, it's just sort of the term is used for just so generically, it's sort of like for advertising, buy our soap or something like that. But propaganda is, the best propaganda is true. But propaganda is a one-sided or whatever piece of information being put out there, because it could be a flyer, it could be a newspaper ad or a newspaper article, or it could be a radio program or a television or YouTube or a map or whatever. It's whatever medium it is, and it's presenting one side of the argument, if you will. And so, and everything in the propaganda can be true. 100% is true, is true reality, or as best of truth that we can determine it. It can be, but it can also be, with that, and it can also, of course, be 100% false too. So propaganda to me isn't necessarily true or false information. It's putting out a particular viewpoint. So we get documentaries that talk about how, war crimes, as we call them today, that the Austrians did, the Austro-Hungarians did during World War I to Serbs and other peoples in the Balkans. And I'll grant, for the most part, everything is probably true. They did that. And the Germans did beastly crimes in Belgium. And that's true, too. And so we're the good guys. Well, fighting them. I would say on the whole, for a large part, in fighting the Central Powers in World War I, yeah, the Allies were the good guys. Now, is that because their somehow more just and honorable than the other side? Maybe. Or is it because Austria and Germany early on went and occupied enemy lands that those people then, to one degree or another, rose up and fought against their occupiers? And the French and the British, particularly, and later the Americans, but the French and British particularly, didn't have that opportunity. So, had they busted in on, say, Germany, but Germany held the Rhine, but occupied, you know, you know, this side of the Rhine. And if there were German partisans or whatever, maybe the French would have been seen as the bad guys because they would have done massacres or something, because some of their troops, whether as and sometimes war crimes are done locally in that, somebody does some bad actions locally and then, enemy side, and then your side reacts and does things, or like we can clearly see in World War II with the Germans, publishing policies: kill one German and we will kill 50 hostages, as a general policy. There are two different types of things, and but you know because as I'm thinking about this, the beastly actions of the British in the Second Boer War. As far as I know, and again, this could just be propaganda, but as far as I know, there were at least no significant, because nothing's shown up on my radar, attacks by Boer commandos, is what they called the military units. It was sort of like the idea of a company, but since it wasn't a fixed size of a unit, meaning it probably varies somewhere between a platoon and a reinforced company, probably not larger than that, just because of the way my understanding is the way the South African, or the Boer army was organized at the time into commandos, a term later used by Churchill, that we use on other things, and it is definitely an irregular warfare type unit. But to the best of my knowledge, it was never used against blatantly civilian targets, in the idea that they were attacking women, children, and obvious South African, or I keep using the wrong term, British, because there was the Cape Colony down here, Anglo-British civilians. I'm not saying there weren't raids and like taking away food and other items needed, but there doesn't seem to be blatant attacks against civilians. It's just a guerrilla warfare types, sometimes in the modern classical terms of trying to look like a innocent Boer farmer in the daylight, and at night coming out with a gun and shooting the British soldier. Not, I don't think so much with them, meaning they weren't uniformed just because South Africa, or I keep saying that it's the Orange Free State and Transvaal and whatnot, but the Boers didn't necessarily have the logistical setup to have quote unquote uniforms, but for the most part, the men just had to disappear, and it was the women and children stayed back with the farms and whatnot. And so the British acted beastly in that they rounded up. Okay, the first half, this isn't beastly in my opinion, and of course, different people and different, who knows what future societies would judge me. But rounding up the women and children and other obvious, like old people, is not a beastly action, because you've determined that the Boers commandos are operating in a guerrilla mode fashion, in that those farms were feeding the enemy troops, and they were simply fading away as the British approached. They were generally mounted and very little logistics. So the idea of separating the civilian population from the guerrillas, shall we say, in some cases, as we know in the Indochina area wars, I guess, Malaya is technically outside of Indochina, but sometimes the guerrillas are violently coming in, killing people, kidnapping people, sometimes kidnapping them to be soldiers. They may look at that as just local area drafting, but other times kidnapping them as workers and other things. Um, the NVA and the Viet Cong did a lot of that, kidnapping people and women and whatnot, and use them as transport labor. Um, as well as armed, forcing them to become armed guerrillas and taking away from their village, killing people, torturing people, and stealing what they had if they didn't support the communists. So sometimes you're taking the population away to protect them. Sometimes the population does support the guerrillas. So the British did a really good campaign, and there's other factors going in there by going into areas, rounding up the people. Well, first, sort of, kind of setting up decent villages. Decent as in comparable to what they were living in already. Somewhat primitive conditions, but setting up villages, putting secure fencing around them, and then moving the population into them. And as time went over, they actually armed some of the population when they thought they could trust them a bit to protect themselves. But putting soldiers in and not allowing anyone out at night, or anybody in at night, obviously, and only allowing people that were, sort of registered to that village to come into the village, and checking everything that leaves the village during the day, because you could go out during the day to your farming fields and whatnot, that no food was going out. No food. You couldn't take a box lunch with you, or whatever. No food was going out. So no food would get to the guerrillas. You have all the food you want back at home, and if you weren't too far, from where your relocated village was to where you had to walk to where your rice paddies or other agricultural endeavors. I don't know if you could readily walk back for lunch, or maybe just go without lunch for the day and just have a bigger, dinner and bigger breakfast to make up for that. But, so you could go out with your farm implements, go farm, come back, be back at night, and whatnot. So they did a very good job of that, of starving out the guerrillas. Well, that's sort of what, not the farming aspect, but it's sort of what the idea was with the British and the first that I know, at least in English, of the word concentration camps, because they were concentrating the population, that the British were setting up for the Boer civilian population. Now, the beastly part comes into is two very bad things happen to these people. One, they are underfed. Radically underfed. And it is not oh shit, this one time a train full of food moving towards, an area where there's a major camp gets blown up by because trains are legitimate military targets, gets blown up or derailed or whatever by a commando, and so the food doesn't get there, so the people go hungry for a little while. No, it seems like let's lower their calorie intake and just give them sort of the minimum. So they were starving. And the weaker ones definitely were starving to death, but they were on sort of starvation rations. And I'm going to blame the British for that. The other thing is, and it's related to it, is that there was a lot of sickness. I think typhoid or maybe some other sickness going on. Partially, I think several reasons. I don't know that the sickness can directly be pushed to the British plan and idea. Obviously, if you get people in close contact with each other and they do have a communicable type sickness, it'll quickly and rapidly spread, obviously. but also just being weaker because you're underfed. Um, it spreads more easily and whatnot. So um, and the hygiene itself of the camps, plumbing or lack thereof, and other things um, that the British. It's a big policy. Now, there very well may be some local commander that locks up a bunch of local populace somewhere, and I don't know the details of the story of the campaign of South Africa, and starts this out and trying it and seeing that this is sort of works, and then it becomes a general policy. But it is a general policy. But before you implement a major general policy like that, you need to go, okay, what do we need to do? We need X amount of food. Oh, we need to ship in, a bunch of pipes to get water in and sewage out. And we need to, bring in a bunch of wood, and maybe we're going to have the locals construct the housing or something like that, so that we supply them with tents in the early days. And we're going to maybe use their labor as part of it, to build some of the camps and whatnot. But okay, you prepare for it, you set it up, and there seems to be an awareness on the British that a particular starvation is going on, and they're using that to force the commandos to surrender. Because as far as I understand, it was basically the populace held hostage and being treated worse and worse that got the commandos to surrender, as opposed to any unwillingness to continue to fight in the field. Meaning, if they're women and children and old folk and other just civilian, males that weren't, either openly or otherwise part of the war, just, sort of got captured or whatever, if they were just held in captivity, but done so in a civilized manner. And these people weren't, as far as I know, like once they were coming into the camps, acting uncivilized. They weren't like attacking guards with, shivs or other things. They weren't behaving as a group, badly, kind of thing. I'm not saying there wasn't like escape attempts or whatever, but it wasn't, particular punishment of the people or whatever. So I know we've gone off on a tirade, or a tangent, I guess, more than a tirade. But so the British, and this is happening around 1900, just a good 15 years before the bulk of, I know it's 1914, but about 15 years before, the British are definitely the bad guys here. I mean, territorial aggression against the Boers because, hey, gold is good. Other resources too are good. Let's go. Fine, fine if you're going to go for conquest, cool. But they behave really badly, and they force the Boers to surrender because of bad conditions for the civilians that are in their care. And so we can see that, and I think the British would, if they had lost that somehow, been convicted of a war crime for their camp policies and their actions. So, yes, back to the thing. Yes, the Austrians did not always behave well when it comes to the Serbs or other groups in South Africa, or in Serbia in the First World War. Let's see. Okay, infantry support tanks. We are slowly catching up. But we have a long. We're doing that. Heavy artillery. We're using it more than we're doing, so we could do some more heavy artillery. We could do the more bombers and tactical bombers, yes, but we just don't have the rubber to do it well. So I'm trying to do things, trying to like overbuild on artillery now, if this is even overbuilding, and then later switch to aircraft or some such. Okay, we have two more here, so let's do two more to heavy artillery. But Yugoslavia is, or Serbia is rewarded with a super kingdom, a mini empire. Both terms would be appropriate, in my opinion, for what they're done, and they're reconfirmed with this after World War II, and not just on hey, we're gonna stop there. Oh, I wanted one of you to keep going like that. I hate these icon style things. Good. Quit division. Because they caused all the trouble, and yes, they were on the winning side, blah blah blah, but they caused all this trouble. Stop moving there. Move down like that. Will that give Germany control of that? I'm just trying to get more war score or whatever. I don't like the war score system. And no, I don't think Yugoslavia survives taking out its Serbian capital. This will get us 4 more military factories and 8 more for Romania. So we want to do this as quickly as possible. Get Romania better production. Hopefully they have resources and good decision making to do that. Hopefully. You go there. You go to head that way. You head that way. Well, alright, well, we are conquering more of these and getting them up and going. I just don't want a total of 5 of those, I think. I don't know, do I? Oh, why do we need so much steel now? What's up with the steel? Sweden's grabbing a bunch of it. Italy's grabbing. Yeah, this is what I hate about this. An increase for every 10 weeks. Okay, guys, make agreement no. These damage a bunch of factories, but they reduce the economic fatigue. And then civilian factories receive 10 levels of damage in here. And then you're either rebuilding or whatever. I don't know the over and under. I can see... I wish I had some expert advice on whether these are a good idea or a bad idea. We need to start producing stugs, it looks like, yes. Just to explain what this is, this takes these sort of motorized regiments, is what they basically are, or brigades, or whatever you want to call them, and whatnot. And we'll do this here. And converts them to their motorized division existence. So that's what that is good. Now, I don't know. I figured it did hurt the anti-tank, which was one of the reasons I was sort of loathing to do this. Okay, well, these guys are mostly out. Oh, good. Look at the Italians. They've all left. Oh. To there. Yeah, I know you're fighting in Greece and all that cool shit, but... I never did. Now, didn't I close my effing economy? So why is the... Okay, well, I guess the debt hasn't adjusted yet. Okay, so, have enough steel here, yeah. We need more rubber for them. Rubber's coming, guys. Now, maybe not enough, but rubber is coming. I guess we can throw that up there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. That's... We need a good... Good total. You can push down off the mountains just fine, yes. One thing I think, okay, we are sort of somewhat near here. Alright, well. Yeah, this is overstacked. I know. I didn't mean to, like, keep it here. Cavalry division.
Ausrücken! 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 Befehle! Achtung! Bereit! Bereit! Befehle!
Yes.
Ausrücken!
Shoulder.
Ausrücken!
There we go.
Achtung!
These are also going. Okay, man, that's maybe a bit too much for
Ausrücken!
that
Ausrücken!
part of the world. So
Ausrücken! 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 Befehle! Achtung! Angetreten! Ausrücken! Ausrücken! Ausrücken!
there we go. That'll get us a little more troops along the border there. How are we doing at training up more of these guys? Okay, good enough. I'm hoping never to actually use these in frontline combat. Where do they all go up? Here.
Achtung!
Okay, goody guys. Okay, and we can maybe see resistance coming up a little bit higher now that we moved out a lot of those troops. So let's get all of these guys
Ausrücken!
heading this way to better deal with some occupational duties. We'll organize that up in a bit.
Angetreten! Achtung!
You go into
Angetreten!
Belgrade. You attack out to there.
Angetreten!
You can come down to here.
Angetreten!
You push down the railway. You come over to here.
Bereit!
How long are you going to take to get to there? How long are you going to take to get to there?
Angetreten! Ausrücken!
Oh, finally. Okay, good.
Achtung! Befehle! Angetreten! Ausrücken!
Well, looks like the Bulgarians are going to be in Skopje very quickly.
Bereit! Ausrücken!
Okay, so we've got Yugoslavia, got 22 more trains, 2,100 other thingies, from heavy weapons, support equipment, towed artillery, manlickers, no FTs, Oh boy. 5 trucks, some fuel, and of course 6,000 of these rifles, basically infantry equipment. All right. Well, okay. This is, I guess, their sort of current. Is that a state? Yes, I guess that is a state. That's a state. No, that's a state there. I hate the state mechanic. Have I said that enough? Okay, so we get one more. Now, oh well, now looky here. Did we get like resource rubber here? Resources. Not that I can see. Maybe just one or more of our factories have come online. Some tungsten, some chromium, more bauxite. Okay, so but we don't have enough iron. Okay, well I don't know about that. We got some. Okay, so we're getting 38 out of 153. That seems all right because of, yes, controller. It's, we've taken it over. We're getting 4 out of 14. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. That is, yes, part of Romania there. We got that. Just looking at different resources here. Yeah. Okay. Trade. Here we don't need. Um, and how many do we have here? Let's. I don't need any of this. We'll leave the 36 for one factory there. Bohemia, I guess. Nationalist Spain isn't delivering all that they're supposed to for some reason. I don't get that. Delivering it meaning it should be coming overland and not like being sunk or something. Up here. Well, they lost a whatever that is, a swordfish, and we lost a bunch of stuff, and so did Italy. I don't know what Italy's doing up there. I don't have a clue as what Italy's doing up here. It's just the same thing over and over.
Angetreten.
There we took down a convoy. We're not doing so well on convoys. I don't understand entirely. Are they just routing around our forces? Because these guys seem to be out here in strength and doing shit. I don't know. So we're going to take the Bay of Biscay off of this. These are all type 9s, are they? Yes, they're type 9s. So what we're going to do is we're going to convoy rating Central Atlantic Gap. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. That's right. Okay. Send those guys out there. Well, it looks like Rommel's holding all that alone. I'm going to, well, I'm going to say, because I'm not, I know bounce back from, there should be consequences to actions. I get that. Fully. I do. But because, like I said at the beginning of this episode, how I want to invade the Soviet Union, and if I thought all these were going to not be there, I would not have sent them. I know it, I know, but we are setting this up. Okay. Now, let's see. Even from the currently deployed squadrons, we are down mostly tactical bombers as opposed to strike bombers. Got a little bit of extra attackers and that. So let's do tactical bombers and I forget. Strike bomber versus tactical bomber. How they're defining these. So we're going to do the tacticals. I think, right? But that's the HE versus that. Okay. Tactical. So the actually HE 111s. We're going to add 2 factories. Just that'll expand once we get there. And looking over here, we're getting some of these done. Good. Well, I think we're going to end this episode here. I've just been having a lot of fun talking at you. I know I just saved it, but we're saving this again just because I made an action. So, hey, I want to thank, we got a few new people I got to add to the list, but Tim, Strongarm, Niagro, Timothy, Sir Toyjet, Gary, and the Hoffmanator for support over on Patreon. But everyone else, all I really ask anybody to do is to, lick the like button. It is tasty. Be subscribed. And if you could, please just say hi. You don't know. I mean, it sort of tells me who's watching, yes, but it really helps feed the algorithm to get this out there to more people. So I really do appreciate that. If you can just post a comment. Thanks, everyone. See you next time for more, yes, even more Hearts of Iron.